Hey everybody, it's me, Seth, and this video is for parents and students. If you want to check this out, you might like this. The reason I'm making this video is to help you prep for the school year a little bit. So just give me a couple minutes and I'm going to go through a few important key things that you're going to need for this school year. First of all, I want to zoom out and just put things into perspective. We live in a country where we do have free public education and we have really a great system, and it's a privilege to be able to have a good education. It is the key to anything and everything you want in life. A great education means that you will be able to open any door you want. So that's the whole point of all of any of this, is to be able to open doors to create the future that you desire. So I just wanted to zoom out for a minute because I think that's really important. First of all, first thing on my list here, I'm going to talk a little bit about dates. So the important dates for this semester with coaching are going to be every single Sunday. There might be a few Sundays when we don't have off, for example, Thanksgiving break and so on and so forth. But every Sunday, plan on being here from 6 to 9 p.m. If you get done before 9, you can leave earlier, but basically 6 to 9. Then on August 16th, we're going to have orientation. That's a Sunday night from 6:30 to 8:30. So I would like all parents and all students to be here. If you're a returning student, it's not as mandatory. If you're brand new, please make sure to be here. If you're returning, try to be here, but if you can't, that's okay, because you know most of what I'm going to be talking about that night anyway. And on the 19th, I want every single student to be here. I think that's at 6:30, but that'll be in the email link on the dates. So that's a Wednesday night. We're going to get our backpacks. You're going to bring all your supplies and everything so we can get everything ready for the school year. Backpacks, pens, pencils, folders, everything, bring it on the 19th. And your planners, very important. Now, other dates you're going to need to know about are all going to be on the website. I'd like you to get those in your planner, but those are already up for the entire semester. The important dates that, the ones that really are going to matter are going to be the Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I want to talk a little bit about the supplies, okay? So, specifically, when you buy a planner, what happens is that the school is going to want, often schools are going to want to give you a planner. And they're going to give you a planner that's about 80 pages thick, and it has weeks, and it has months, and it has a bunch of visual clutter, and it has a bunch of pages that you don't need, like the school handbook in the planner, or physics, or multiplication tables, or commonly misspelled words, all this junk in the planner. I don't want you to use that planner. If you know you like that planner, fine, use it, I don't care. But what I recommend and what I would like you to get is a large 8.5 by 11 monthly planner. Make sure you get the one that says academic year, not year, because that means that you'll get January through January. You want to get the July through the end of the school year one. That's called an academic planner. And basically, we're only going to keep the pages that have to do with the months of the school year. And they're going to have these boxes in there. They're about that big for each day. It may seem small, but I'll show you how to use that effectively. Though, since you're generally a big picture thinker, those are the planners we're going to use. It's a month at a time. Please try to get one of those. Some of them are spiral, some of them are bound with staples. I prefer the one with staples, but they're harder to find. Doesn't matter, just get one. Make sure it's not a tiny little monthly one, but a nice big monthly planner. I also want you to get a monthly calendar. The desk calendars that cost $5, really big. Pick one of those up, please. So that's all with the planner. And all these I want you to bring, by the way. Spiral notebooks. I'm not a fan of spiral notebooks. I'm a fan of composition notebooks. Do whatever you want, I don't care. My preference for you, though, is to get composition notebooks for numerous reasons. One of which is that the spirals tend to get messed up and bent up, and the paper doesn't come out as easily. And you actually can take paper out of a composition notebook. But that's what I prefer. I prefer for you to have a composition notebook instead of spiral, and one for each class that you'll need a notebook in. And then what you're going to do is have a folder that matches the composition notebook. So if you have a red composition notebook for algebra, you have a red folder for algebra. Talking about folders, I'm going to move on to 3-ring binders. I am not a fan of 3-ring binders. 95% of the students I work with don't use 3-ring binders correctly, but schools will often tell you you need a 3-ring binder. I'm telling you, ignore the list that they send home with you, and if we need to, we'll send an advocacy letter, unless you like 3-ring binders. Generally speaking though, they don't work for my students. They're too detail oriented. It takes too many steps to manage the minutia, to manage papers. So what I prefer is a simple, you can even use as simple as this. This might be your math folder. I have some students that just use a simple pocket folder, believe it or not. But what I prefer is cheap paper ones that are not slick. The ones that have a slick cover, it's hard to write on with a Sharpie. Just a cheap pocket folder. One color, solid color for each class. And then you might get 1 or 2 extra. So the white one might be math, you might have a yellow one for science, a green one for social studies, a blue one for language arts, etc. That's what I prefer you get instead of the 3-ring binder, okay? Again, you can do this your own way, but I'm telling you my recommendations, and I'll go into extraordinary depth as to why I recommend these things as the school year goes on. But just trust me on this, this is what I do, so it's easier that way. Pens. Get pens and pencils that you like, okay? If it's an expensive pen, get it. I love to get the multicolor pens. This one has black, green, red, and blue, because then you can draw your notes, which I'll be teaching you how to do, and you can color code things very easily. But get ones that you like. One of my favorite pens is this sort of gel type pen, but whatever you like is what I want you to have. Now, important, I want you to put your, well actually I'll do this with you, but we'll get your name labeled on everything, so if it gets lost, it comes back to you. So, want you to like the supplies you get, label all the supplies. I'll be doing that with you, so you can kind of ignore that comment right now. Next, sacred study area. In your home, you need a place that's a sacred study area. That's a place where your siblings are not going to bug you, where your dog or your cat is not going to bug you, where you're not going to be hearing a TV blaring, where you're not going to be hearing everybody cooking. It's a good place. You need a sacred space to study that is free of distractions, where you can really get down to business with your study. So start thinking about where in the house is actually the best place for you to study. What would that look like? And I'll go into more about that as we get to know each other. Like, I prefer standing desks. I have some in the room here. You might like a whiteboard in your sacred study space. You might like a corkboard, but we'll talk about that later. But at this point, I want you to be considering where in the house is the best place to have a sacred study space. I would like you to make an archive, okay? All an archive is a box. It could be a cheap cardboard box, or it could be a nice little wooden box, or it could be a plastic box that you label archive. The archive is very important because that's where we're going to store 2 things. One is the type of papers that you think you may need. For example, if you say, I may need this math test in order to study for the final, then we'll throw it in the archive so you don't need to keep it in your folder all the time. I'm going to keep your folders very thin. We're not going to keep junk in your folders. The second thing you're going to put in the archive is anything sentimental. Let's say that you write a poem or a paper that means a lot to you, and you put your heart into it, and you actually may want to keep that as for years. That you'll put in the archive as well. So you need a box of some sort as an archive for this year, so please get that set up. And finally, we're going to set up your browser in a certain way so that I prefer Google Chrome. So if you can please put Google Chrome on your computer, and then I'll get it all set up. You can bring your laptop here on that Wednesday, and I'll get Google Chrome all set up with you so that it is really good for you with your study. So for example, we'll have Google Drive so that it pops up automatically. Your calendar will pop up automatically. Infinite Campus, or wherever your online grades are, will just pop up automatically. So that, I want you to think about getting Chrome, or get Chrome onto your computer if you can before we get started with all this stuff. So there's a few things I just wanted to go over with you before I see you on the 16th. If I can't see you on the 16th, let me know because we'll set up a one-to-one for that day. I'm really looking forward to this year. My plan is that it is going to be the best year ever. I'm really glad to have this opportunity to get to know you and have an awesome year with you, and just have a great time doing getting stronger with school and everything. So anyhow, my brain is going to shut down in 30 seconds. You take care. I'll see you soon.